4 men charged and sentenced in horrific crimes. 2 of the men prosecutors called disgusting and monsters. Officials say they were part of a multi-state child sex trafficking case involving a 16-year-old Myrtle Beach girl. The judge who presided over the case say children in our community are much safer tonight. A sentence hearing wrapped up just a short time ago. ABC 15's Tanya Brown joins us live outside the Florence Federal Building with more on what happened inside that courtroom. Tanya.
Jennifer, there were a lot of tears shed as prosecutors shared the horrific details of the case. One of the teen girls even read a statement to the court calling the men involved monsters. Prosecutors say the mastermind behind it all is 26-year-old Hart Grow. It started in April of 2020 and ended when the feds busted him last July. Grow pretended to be a teen named Hannah living in the Midlands area of South Carolina. He did this through the internet from the comfort of his home in Arizona. Grow recruited 37-year-old Theodore Woolings Bye III of Myrtle Beach on the internet to help him carry out his sexual fantasies. Now, Grow befriended a 16-year-old girl from Myrtle Beach on the internet and groomed her to fall in love with Hannah. He brainwashed the teen and forced her to engage in sexual acts with men, including Bye, Sanadin Elrayes of Surfside Beach, and Joseph Spillane of Myrtle Beach. Now, in exchange, the men sent Grow videos of those sexual encounters. Prosecutors say some of those encounters happened right in the teen's home in Myrtle Beach.
Something the judge said during the sentencing, which I think would resonate to all of us, is it's every parent's worst nightmare. One of these minor victims was actually taken from her bedroom, and some of these acts occurred in her bedroom 3 or 4 doors down from where her parents were.
A psychiatrist told the judge that Grow was socially withdrawn and isolated, and that may have played a role in him committing the crimes. Prosecutors say Grow was married with a great job and a good salary and had a lot ahead of him, including pursuing a degree.
A lot of details we don't know, like how the girl died and what led to this tragedy, but we do know SLED is investigating, and the mother and stepfather, Shawnetta and Barky Foss, are both facing murder charges. Arrest warrants obtained by Watch Fox News from Fountain Inn police say Shawnetta and Barky Foss killed someone on May 28th at 211 Alyssa Landing Drive in Fountain Inn. The warrant didn't reveal a name, but investigators confirmed the victim was Shawnetta's daughter. Watch Fox News learned the identity of the 12-year-old through an obituary from Bostick Tompkins Funeral Home. Her name, Ashante Glenn. When we called the Greenville County Coroner's Office, they also confirmed her identity and that she was taken to Hillcrest Hospital in Simpsonville, where she was pronounced dead. According to the obituary, Glenn died on May 28th and was buried days later in Columbia. In addition to SLED, several other agencies are investigating the girl's death.
Dr. Brandon Traxler talked about changes for one of the biggest tools, at-home tests. But since those results are not recorded, it does make it tough to track the virus spread throughout the state. She says that's why the CDC report here is the best reference. Out of 6 South Carolina counties with high levels of spread, you can see 2 of those are in our area.
It's been a while since we've held one of these.
For the first time since March, specifically, South Carolina's Public Health Director, Dr. Brandon Traxler, meeting with journalists during an all too familiar phrase, a surge in COVID-19 cases. But this time around, there are some changes, starting with tests.
The PCR test for most of the pandemic is what you heard us talking about. That was the standard. But the rapid at-home tests are incredibly reliable and have become increasingly more accurate.
Dr. Traxler says it's one of our best defenses, giving results within minutes before a trip or event.
And with these hyper-transmissible variants and subvariants, that's really important because every few minutes matters.
And this time around, you don't have to track down a nose swab test if you have symptoms, but test negative at home.
Go ahead and test again, in that 24, 36-hour window. And if you're negative on both of those, then I think you can feel fairly confident.
Another change, who is a close contact? Dr. Traxler says to isolate and test if you've been within 6 feet from someone with COVID for 15 minutes or longer.
So I especially recommend people that have spent longer periods of time or at even closer range. That's even more important for them to get that test even if they're not having symptoms.
Cases and people fighting the virus in the hospital have just started to go back down, but whether or not that continues depends on our actions.
So we're on the beginning of the right track. We just need to continue these preventative measures and use good judgment so that we can make it out of this recent surge with as little damage as possible.
As more of us take these at-home COVID tests, you might remember you can't report the positive result to DHEC, but there's another change coming to make sure they can track where the virus is surging in the state. Dr. Traxler says they're going to start testing our wastewater, and we could expect to see those results very soon.